why people think this, but just to clear out that that assumption, both 0.3 will be in one playbook where you'll be able to install it onto Windows 11 and also Windows 10. So there's no limitations when it comes to different playbooks. You don't have to download the Windows 10 version of Atlas. You will just use the standard playbook, what we'll be releasing as per normal. Well, as per what we did on Windows 10.
Yeah, so there won't be two separate playbooks for Windows 10 and 11. There'll just be one playbook which supports both the latest Windows 11 and 10.
And then some changes, obviously, that we had to make. We've had to make a lot of changes to our documentation. So inside the docs, we're going to have Windows 10 and Windows 11 with complete guides. And it's going to be a lot cleaner when it comes to the documentation, because I think a lot of people beforehand did get a bit confused and were kind of scared away for installing Atlas because they thought it was a bit confusing. There's a full revamp on the documentation, and it includes a lot more fixes and troubleshooting guides when it comes to different incompatibilities with the Atlas folder. And also how to install it and keep your files. So that's going to be the main revamp from the docs, which we have spent a lot of time on, to be honest.
Yeah, so there'll be everything covered in the documentation, so you don't have to worry about, it should be a lot simpler now. You won't really need to have a video to explain it, because the documentation is better, it's always up to date, and now it's a lot clearer.
And also, I think we've kind of glossed by that Hills is also now an owner of Atlas. He's been promoted, and we haven't even mentioned that at the start of the event. So I think we need to mention that. So everyone congratulate Hills on becoming an owner, because he's going to be doing a lot of the pushing when it comes to directing Atlas to be improving, but also its focus. So everyone congrats Hills. So that's really nice.
Thank
It's a
you.
really good change, and it's going to improve Atlas a lot. So it's awesome to have another person on the ownership. All the people in the chat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing that a lot of people have is that we have people that are scared of using Atlas on laptops. I know that the V2 was, or v0.2, a lot of people were scared about it. And as mostly because it comes from the drivers, what we've done to kind of eliminate this and make it so a lot of people can use whatever they want, you can use it on a laptop, every single laptop it'll work on, is that we've implemented an automatic and manual driver updates guide. You could do this by yourself, but there was no guides to help you. So now in this new guide on the docs, you'll be able to, it will ask you which option you want to go to, and depending on each option, you'll have a different path what you can go down. So you can now have full functionality on a laptop. And yeah, someone said ROG Ally support. Yes, so that's another thing, is when you have automatic drivers, all your ROG Ally drivers will install, which is a lot easier when it comes to users just wanting to get something set up and not have to worry about drivers, although it is cleaner to do a manual driver installation.
Yep. So a lot of people kind of have difficulty currently with finding and piecing together all of their drivers for, especially on a device like a laptop. So this should be a lot simpler, so that Atlas can be used by more people.
Yeah, so I know that in the 0.2, it has been a while since 0.2. Me personally, I've been using all the beta builds, so I've kind of forgotten. But what I do remember from the 0.2 is the AME installation flow, and that's going to be a massive revamp that we have. So we can put it up on the screen. This new installation flow for the AME wizard means that we will be able to select a browser. You'll be able to turn off or on with the Windows Defender. You can also change core isolation, and you can manage your Bluetooth. You can add or keep Edge, depending on if you like Edge. So a lot of these changes are improving to your personalization.
Yeah. So now Atlas is not just for, people that only it's before it's for a very specific subset of users, but now Atlas is meant to be for a lot more people, and you'll be able to customize it to your needs.
Yeah, and another problem that people had when they were going through these options is once they actually got to the page where they were waiting for it to finish, they got stuck on reticulating splines, and this has been an issue for a while. And now we're safe to say that we fixed this issue. Okay, there's no one's gonna be stuck on reticulating splines. It's going to be gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Okay, it won't be a thing.
Yeah,
Long live Microsoft Edge. No, what the hell? I mean, hey, if you want to use it,
yeah,
you can.
because you can now.
Yeah, you can.
Although we definitely do recommend using something else.
Yeah, so I guess what we can do is, Hills, do you want to show your screen and we'll go through the installation process instead of
Uh,
just being
yep,
a straight kind of.
yep,
So we have it set up in a VM.
yeah. So this is a fresh, latest Windows 11 install. Hey, my screen share stuck there. That's strange.
One thing that's a note is a lot of the folder changes because there was some things inside the folder that were breaking people's functionality. So a lot of the things have changed. We've rejigged them around, removed some things, added some things that people want as well. Um, so hopefully we would have been able to improve it.
Yeah. So there's also a lot more customizability now. So in the Atlas folder, you'll be able to enable a lot more features. Before it was kind of restricted, and some of the scripts would break quite key functionality of Windows. But now it's quite a bit improved. It's improved by quite a bit.
And another thing is that with all of these different improvements, you would think that there would be a loss in performance. There's been no loss in performance. The benchmarks that we have and will be released with the update, like the full release, which we haven't even got to, by the way, the release date. So we will be announcing that later on. But when we do have a release date, we will also have benchmarks on the website where you can view comparing stock windows. Because I think it's only right to really be able to see the difference between each version and also stock windows because there's literally been no loss performance at all. And with the help of our new contributor, hopefully we can improve performance as well even more.
Yeah. So should we go back to the screen share and show the installation process?
Yes.
All right. So here I have a wizard. This would be pretty much the final stage in the documentation before you actually get into Atlas. So I've got the testing playbook here. Simply just as you would before, drag and drop it in and disable Defender so that it can obviously do its changes.
Yeah, see, this part is all exactly the same as you had before. You know, you got to accept the terms, do all that. But as soon as you get to this part is where it changes.
Yeah, so before this would be grayed out on 0.2, but AIM-Visit, the software that's used to install Atlas, it now has a new feature where you can customize options, and we have implemented that so you can customize options like disabling Defender, which you can now enable or disable after or after you've installed the playbook or right now. So I'm going to disable just to demonstrate it. And you can also do the same for security mitigations, which you can learn more about here. Same here. And you can configure some more miscellaneous options here. So in our case, we'll remove Microsoft Edge and replace it. And I will choose Waterfox as the browser. Click OK. Next. And
And for the people that just wanted to say, just for the people that have the development role that have been kind of intact with what's been going on that people don't know from 0.2, we have decided to change from Waterfox, which was originally set to LiberWolf, and this is simply just because when you install LiberWolf by default, it is a little bit temperamental when it comes to viewing all websites, and we think that Waterfox is just going to be an overall better choice for the majority of users. Now, you can install by selecting no browser. You can just click no browser, have it install, and you can just use Winget or use our software script that we have in the Atlas folder to install your browser depending on your preference. But we do want to have the options that will suit a lot more of a wider audience rather than a small subset of users that prefer privacy over functionality.
Yeah, so LiberWolf is still an option, but that's only after you've installed. And obviously you can still get it from external sources. For context, LiberWolf is a version of Firefox that aims to improve user privacy by having strong tracking protections on websites. And Waterfox is another version of Firefox, except from that it's a lot lighter in that aspect. It still has improvements because it's more customizable and it's also more private, but it is a lot. It works on all websites and it is just generally going to be best for most users. So, yeah.
When we're talking about all of these privacy and security things, we also want to mention that we have returned Windows updates into Atlas, and that means that you don't have to run on that Windows build that you installed, I don't know, 5 months ago. You can update your build and improve your security while you're using Atlas. So security issues are no longer a problem. You can have Windows Defender, you can have core isolation, and you can even have your Windows updates. So you don't have to feel like you're unprotected and have to reinstall every now and then. And we have done this by making them all manual. So you won't have to you will not have to have them running in the background automatically downloading and disrupting your gameplay. It's more like you go into your updates and you update your system to install the security updates.
Yeah. And for example, if you disable Defender, that will persist through Windows updates. So you don't have to worry about updating and then all of the Atlas tweaks and changes being restored. They'll all stay there. And something to note is that updates are manual, at least by default. So you don't have to worry about updates automatically starting when you're playing a game or like updates when you need your computer the most. You'll just have to manually go into Windows settings and click update. That's the only time it'll update. And that also doesn't impact privacy because Windows Update already actually runs on 0.2, except from that it's just hidden and restricted and disabled. So yeah, there's no privacy difference. You don't have to worry about it.
And another thing is about a lot of people in 0.3 had compatibility issues like software not working or I don't know, some very small, I guess, yeah, just some software not working. Maybe Anticheat wasn't working, let's say VAC, or you had to do some weird tweaks to get around different scenarios. We currently don't know of any incompatibilities with softwares, so it makes it we're kind of trying to say that 0.3 you shouldn't find any incompatibilities, and if you do, we are actively trying to remove all of them. We want to make sure that everything is compatible. We don't want to have people not being able to use certain software in Atlas. We want it to be exactly like stock, just with better performance and more privacy centric.
Yeah, so there's a lot more things added back that do not impact performance, privacy, security. So it should all be good, compatibility mostly. If there is any issues, then as Jack said, just report them. But yeah, we've squashed all the incompatibility bugs that are known, and we've also squashed way more bugs just in general. And you can see that by our the amount of work done to Atlas on GitHub. And GitHub is a place where you can have software that is free with the code completely open, so anyone can view, edit the code, etc. And over there, we have done a major amount of changes since 0.2. We have definitely been working quite hard on that. And we also want to thank like anyone that has contributed to in any way to Atlas, because anyone can. So yeah, Zueta also in the stage, if you can see, muted though. Me and him have done most of the work on 0.3, and yeah, Zueta has definitely helped quite a lot.
Another thing that a lot of users have wanted to use, but we've always kind of neglected is restore points. What do you guys think about restore points? Do any of you guys wish that restore points worked in Atlas? Is there a reason why you would want restore points to work? Wow, there's a lot of people saying no. I was expecting more yeses. Okay. Well, we have restored restore points, and it's not by default, so you have to enable it inside the Atlas folder. So if you do want to use restore points, you can by opening the folder and enabling them, but by default, they are not enabled by default. By default, they are not enabled by default, yep.
Yeah, so restore points, they're mostly used as like a last resort, so that's why they're in there. By the way, we haven't added anything that will impact. It's not like we've added anything specific for restore points. My bad. So you don't have to worry about restore points taking up a process or a service or two that is you'd otherwise not need, because restore points simply work because we've added other things back which don't impact performance or anything like that. But yeah, they're in Atlas as a last resort, pretty much.
Going back to security, let's take a step back at security. I don't know if many of you saw the tweet which went kind of viral. We had like, I don't know, I think it had like 200,000 impressions. So some of you guys must have known the tweet that kind of outlined Atlas's security vulnerabilities with not having the Windows Defender, and we took this very seriously. By default, in 0.2, UAC was disabled, so that means you didn't get the pop-up saying yes, no, does this file, it wants to run as administrator. By default, what we're going to be doing is having UAC enabled, so you will be getting this pop-up, and that's not going to be changing performance. But what it does mean is that your computer will be a lot more secure, and it means that apps in the background can't open with administrator privileges, and you wouldn't know about it. So it's a giant step when it comes to safety, and not having your entire usability on the operating system be vulnerable to a virus attack.
Yeah. Of course, it isn't going to protect against everything. There's still measures to bypass it if a software really tried to, but it's a major safety feature to have it enabled because it protects against a lot of poorly made malware, and it also protects against you accidentally running something, of course. So yeah, another point is that some HyperV, which is a virtualization platform for Windows that quite a few developers and people that just simply want to test, operating systems, they want to do anything like that. That previously didn't work that well in 0.2. It was pretty problematic. But now in 0.3, features like that are just as you'd install it in normal Windows. So you don't have to worry about using some script that doesn't work. You just open up optional features and install it like normal Windows. And I saw someone mention about anti-cheats. We did cover this before, but all anti-cheats should work now on 0.2.
Well, yeah, they've been tested to
I mean
work.
0.3,
So
my bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
on 0.3 they've all been tested to work. So there's no issues there.
yeah. So I'm at the desktop now. It's finished installing. Disable Defender and everything. So
So
as you can see,
want to go through the folder first, I guess.
yeah. So as you can see, you can indicate it by the nice Atlas file folder on the
Oh yeah,
desktop.
the Atlas file icon that was not in 0.2. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we've got all the folders here, and we can compare this side by side to 0.2 actually. So we've got 0.2 on the left, we've got the new, I mean 0.2 on the right, and then 0.3 on the left. So in 0.2, it was a bit more compact, although you had to expand things. So you had to go into like multiple folders to get to your scripts. Now it's just in the main folder. So you don't have to go through multiple folders. Everything's just here. And for example, in the general configuration, which is just called configuration now, we've got new things like network discovery and file sharing. So if anyone had any issues with file sharing or anything that depended on file sharing, that will now work in 0.3 once you enable it. And we also have network discovery enabled by default because those processes and services are all, they don't impact anything. So that will mean more compatibility. And we also changed the defaults up quite a bit in general to not compromise on performance, but also maximize compatibility. So it's all good there. That included removing a few folders or scripts that were no longer needed or were problematic as well. But yeah, there's quite a few differences between the two, including, for example, there's no longer there's background apps as well for Windows 11. They're disabled by default, but you can enable them. So you don't have to worry about any apps that you might install running in the background that are like store apps. You can enable or disable that in Windows 11, which you can normally not do.
Yeah, and one thing about the background apps is that one thing that I know that a lot of people here, if they have ever played Sea of Thieves, you need to have background apps enabled to play Sea of Thieves. So this kind of wraps into that, where we're trying to, like, even if the use case is so small, as small as that, you are able to use literally everything on the Atlas. There's no limitation.
Yeah. There's quite a few other folder changes that we can go through, but really they're quite minor. Most of the changes are more internal, and we've also fixed many bugs with these configuration scripts and shortcuts. So it should overall be a lot easier to navigate and more high quality now. Something else we can showcase. Windows security is also included by default now, even if you have Defender disabled. And this means that you can configure things like core isolation, which is a security feature for basically protecting against vulnerabilities in Windows. We've disabled it by default, memory integrity, which is the main feature because it impacts performance quite a lot. But yeah, now you can configure all of that with a GUI, which we didn't have previously in 0.2. And there's also the fireball protection. And yeah, that's mostly it to do that. About the start menu, you can see there's basically no bloat. There's nothing that it's basically just like 0.2. We haven't added any apps back that might, be annoying that most users don't use. And the good thing is that Microsoft Store still works. Actually, might work a bit better, and that means you can reinstall any application that you need. For example, Get Help is stripped by default. If I wanted that, I could just simply get it from the Microsoft Store. It'll download, install just fine. So any store apps that are removed, you can just simply get back from the store.
Someone said remove game bar. Game bar is not enabled by default. You need to enable it yourself. So it's for people that want to play certain games. I think require the overlay for Xbox or something.
Yeah. Uh, Someone mentioned snip and sketch. I'm not sure if that's in Windows 11. Yeah, snipping tool. You can get snipping tool just fine. You saw I just downloaded Get Help. Get Help is now here.
What we can go through now is that you can actually on the fly enable and disable Windows Defender.
Yeah,
You want to try that out,
yeah. Um,
and also give an insight into how it works. Would be pretty cool.
yeah, it's we've done a lot of work on 0.3 is about the toggling Defender, and we can just quickly showcase that.
So no matter if you install without Windows Defender, and let's say you need it, because I don't know, 4 months down the line, you need it because you want to make sure your system's fully secured, then you can.
Yep, so I'll just enable Defender. It will obviously load for a bit, it will do its thing and enable it. Might take a second. Yep. So it'll ask you to restart, you simply restart, press Y. And what it actually does is disabling Defender is done by a like self-made Windows update. So that means that Windows will basically not touch it because it has saw that Defender has been removed, but it's at a really high version. So Windows will just not update it ever, which means it will never have an issue with Windows updates. So yeah, I can now show Defender working. As you can see, Defender's back. It all works. I guess I can scan, quick scan. Yep.
When is the release? When is the release? I'm sold. Soon, soon. We will announce it at the end.
Yeah, you've got the security updates as well for the Windows Defender. So no worries about having outdated, threat detections. It's all up to date. And we can also showcase Windows Update. So obviously I've paused updates here, but Windows Update, it's here. You can check for updates, and it will only update when you click check for updates. So you don't have to worry about it doing it automatically when you need it. We can also show disabling Defender again after you've enabled it.
Yeah, because there's a pretty nice, I guess, interface for it.
Yeah, we've done well. I've done quite a lot on the disabling Defender
It's
part.
taken here was very, very long, and it's been well worth it. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so disable Defender. You press 1, it'll give you a little warning, and it does quite a lot here. But to put it simply, it takes you out of Windows, puts you into another version of Windows, disables Defender, restarts, and Defender's disabled, and it's all very reliable that way. So you don't have to worry about Microsoft suddenly patching it or, anything like that. It will just work. So here it is going into the going out of Windows and doing its thing. This is actually edited Windows recovery. So
Tells you some nice stats there at the bottom, some cool facts.
yep. DK members, in which 377 are watching this right now. So yeah, you just give it a bit to, clean up. It's already a disabled Defender at this point. It's just basically just cleaning up your Windows installation so you have less storage space. And there you go, restarting. As a note, that error is harmless. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a
As
thing
you
when you
as you
restart.
will see. I could already see many forum posts of that error.
I mean, no issue. As you can see, it worked. So it didn't
Exactly.
matter. But yeah, you can also see new backgrounds. We can go over that. So now we've got 3 themes included by default. By default, it's the dark theme with our new background, as you can see. Very nice. And then we also have the light theme. Also very nice. And then there's the old background for anyone that wants a more like dark and simple theme. You've also got that there. So yeah, I think everything's been covered. You can also see that Waterfox is installed. Works just fine. So you think that's everything covered, or you have anything else to bring up?
No, I think that's about it. So as you can see, it's fully feature packed. We've got everything working, such as Windows Defender. We've got updates working. So realistically, we're just gonna go through some of the final things that a lot of people do use. And then we'll get straight to the release date, and you guys can put it all in your calendars. A lot of the time, people have been saying about mobile hotspot. I know a lot of people use their mobile hotspot inside of Windows, and this is now working. So wow, claps everyone. We now have mobile hotspot working. Woo, let's go. We also have another one to note is high CPU usage when you boot up your Windows. Whoa, we boot up high CPU usage. Why is that? It's fixed. It was caused by the auto cleaner. As some people know, and they ran the script and it fixed it. But yeah, that is fixed in here now. We also have some Adobe software problems. People were having issues with Adobe software. Those are also fixed now. 2502 and 2503 file explorer errors. Those were to do with temp file permissions. Those are now fixed. And there is so many more other fixes that you probably didn't even know was existing, but they are fixed in the new update. So it
Yeah.
there's like we can't even list them all. Like we would be going for a while, but there is so many fixes that have been made into point 3. But yeah, and also for people that use multiple users as well and want to have multiple users all having an optimized version of Atlas, that has been improved a lot. I know Hill spent a couple days on that, so that is also improved a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the multi-account support usually before in Atlas that kind of has had a history of being a bit of a grey area where people don't really know if it's working properly or not, but we can confirm now that for 0.3 the multi-users, like adding a new user account for someone else to use on your computer, that should work fine. And
So I think we covered everything. If I'm not, if not, drive optimization.
yeah,
That is now enabled, like on stock Windows.
yep,
Have we missed anything? Oh, Edge Web View works for all the modern apps that are trying to utilize Web View as well. So specifically frameworks like Tauri that aren't Electron based. They all work like on the standard Windows.
yep.
I think we've
Uh,
covered everything.
should we show
Oh,
the documentation real quick?
yeah, sure. We can. You want to launch it up and then
Yeah.
okay. We'll wait for that.
I've got it
You
up.
already got it up? Oh, you got it up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Yeah, so here's the new documentation for the installation. You can see it's already looking a lot cleaner. I can compare it to what was there before. Docs getting started. You can see this was a lot more and it's a lot simpler. so it already is a lot more readable. So we've got the requirements, and instead of going to a separate website now, we have an option to download Windows 11 and Windows 10 straight into the documentation. It asks you for your language, and then it simply downloads the ISO, so you don't have to go onto Microsoft or anything. And after that, we've got the preparation section, which is simply where you would download Atlas, put everything on a USB stick or another drive, and yeah, that will be used after you install Windows. Reinstalling Windows, you do not need a USB stick, just like before on the documentation. So yeah, there's no issues with, messing around with BIOS settings and trying to boot into the right thing. You simply double click on exe and follow the steps in the Windows setup. And then this is the initial setup after the installation. We guide you through that here. And yeah, this is about driver updates.
Again, that's about the automatic and the manual, whether you're a laptop or an ROG Ally and you just want drivers to just work.
Yeah. So we have basically just saying the points why you should use automatic and the points where you should use manual driver updates. This is about actually installing Atlas. You saw me do that at the start with the playbook, where I just dragged it into Amy Wizard and went through it. And after that, yeah, that's pretty much it. We've also got a new troubleshooting section which Jack has been working on, and you can see there's individual pages now for a lot more issues that people might experience. So, just for example, we could go to Microsoft Store compatibility, and it simply tells you about Microsoft Store and Atlas. And as you already know, it works out of the box. But if you didn't know that, or if you're having issues with it, it tells you how to fix it here, and that should all be good. Something to note as well. We have contributions open, so anyone, if you find an issue or you have a good idea for the Atlas documentation, you can always go over to the GitHub and you can contribute yourself. So you can edit the files, look into how it works, and that will be very beneficial for not just for us, but for everyone, because you're helping. And that's also the same for the actual Atlas playbook itself. All development is open source, and everyone can see it and contribute. So, yeah, we want to thank everyone that has contributed, and those are really appreciated. So we definitely want more, if you can.
So I think it's about time for all the people that have stayed to the end to learn about when the release date is going to be. We will have a post on the day before the release. So the day before is going to be the 2nd. We plan on releasing this all on the 3rd, so you only have to wait 2 days. That's all you have to wait. It's not long at all. So on the 3rd, we'll have a direct time that you'll be able to see when it is releasing. On top of that, you'll be able to enjoy a nice website that I've been creating to improve the experience as well when you go onto atlasos.net. So
Yeah.
on the 3rd will be when it's all available. You can download it, and keep in mind you cannot update from 0.2. This is an incredible upgrade, so it's just not possible. Okay, you have to do a complete reinstall using our instructions, and using our instructions helps you keep your files so you don't lose any files. You just upgrade, you grab everything from your .windows file, and it works.
Yeah.
Grab everything over.
Something to note on that is that also after 0.3, we are planning for you not having to reinstall Windows after to upgrade. So you will no longer have to do this again because 0.3 is almost made to last. It's a lot more modular in its design.
I guess what we can do now is that if there is anyone who has a good question that you can raise your hand, we'll be bringing people up onto the stage so they are able to ask the question and we can answer it. I guess we'll have moderators that have access to collaboratively pick maybe 5 users to come up, and then we'll be ending the stage event.
Yep.
So if staff members just want to talk in the team chat, pick out 5 people that are requesting, and then we'll go through the list, which may take a short amount of time here.
Yep.
What I'm really excited to see is people trying Atlas on ROG Allies, Steam Decks. I know that we saw someone actually in the development channel that was trying out the RC2. If you don't know, we have the development role, and we released a version for beta to kind of pre-release and test it. But it would be it's gonna look so cool when we see people actually using them on handheld devices. But yeah.
Yeah. Good thing about 0.3 is that it should be compatible with a lot more now. So Purple Heart, do you have a question or anything?
Oh, I'm just waiting for the answer. I actually have a good question. Is it worth using Atlas OS if you have the latest and greatest? Is it, that much of a performance difference that it's worth, or pricey?
I would say definitely it helps a lot more on lower end systems, but it will still have a measurable impact, especially if your current installation is quite hefty, quite bloated. But also it's not just about performance. Atlas focuses heavily on improving user privacy and improving the general responsiveness, and it basically should just make it easier to use, especially for power users. Quite a lot of tweaks for those things.
Also, latency is a competitive advantage when it comes to stutters and evening out like high latencies, like spiking.
Yeah, you might not be able to note, you might not think so, but or notice it right now, but Atlas does, because of its optimizations of removing and disabling many background processes. There's a lot more there's a lot less running on your system, meaning that your system latency should overall be improved. So that should definitely help, not just performance to a measurable amount, but also, it could even give you a slight competitive advantage. And that's kind of what Atlas is all about.
Yeah, because I only have like 2 games that I mainly play. Is VR Chat, just very CPU heavy, and Arma 3 King of the Hill, which there's 90 people in one town. So Arma 3 doesn't run the greatest, but since I've upgraded to the 7800 X3D, my frame rate is much better in the city. I have everything much higher, but my frame rate's still low. So anything I can do to improve that. And then VR Chat is just very heavy since it's user created content. It's Unity engine.
Yeah.
Having a low frame rate in VR with a headset doesn't feel great. So I do anything to get a better frame rate in those.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And if it's CPU heavy, then obviously the Atlas optimizations will definitely help CPU wise. Yeah, that's if that's it, then I guess we'll get the next person on. Hello.
Welcome to
Hello,
the
Atlas
stage.
devs. First off, I just wanted to say congratulations and thank you so much for your hard work. The presentation has been, 5 stars. I think I speak for everyone in the chat to say we're super hyped. So congratulations. You should pat yourselves on the back. My question is, what will make Atlas the best? Like, what distinguishes it from other projects? And the example I gave is, for example, Amit's optimization guide. So what makes Atlas the best Windows optimization tool, let's say, um, that makes it the best for gamers? And how would it compare, for example, to other guides? Yeah, that's it.
Well, about Amit's guide, that's also a very good guide, but it's kind of for a specific purpose, and it's mostly for quite power users. Obviously, people can still follow it, but Alice is meant to be easier in that regard, and it's meant to be for everyone. So you'll have like Windows Update support, for example, Defender support. Obviously, those might add, like for example, Defender might add, some um responsiveness downsides, but that's user choice. It's completely user choice in Atlas. And compared to other custom Windows modifications, Atlas is, firstly, you can look at the code, everyone can contribute to it. It's very customizable. It's pretty stable at this point with 0.3, and yeah, is there anything
Another
else?
thing is that another thing is that a lot of going back to like actual Windows modifications, not necessarily the legal ones, but also the ones that do distribute ISOs. A lot of the time, people tend to think that they want to get the most stripped down version of Windows, things not working, to squeeze every ounce of performance that they can. And a lot of the time, this is just not realistic. So what we want to do is comparing us to other people or other projects. Atlas is here to not compromise on functionality, but offer the same performance as close as we can. And that means that you don't have to compromise your system and have to reinstall every like month because you need to like hop around the different things for getting certain functionality. So I guess that's another reason why Alice is different to other projects.
All right,
Yeah,
guys. Thank you so much. I won't be home to install Z0.3 in my main machine when it releases, but I'm super hyped and congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very
thank
much
you.
for coming up. Raise your hands, everyone. We got 2 people coming up. Let me mute one. I'll mute you, Shawnito. Oh, yeah. So yeah, Cial. That's how I say your name.
Yeah. I have a question. So, I have Atlas OS installed on 2 of my computers, and I've had a problem with GitHub desktop where it logs you out when you restart the application. Do you know if that's fixed or not? I know you guys probably use
Yep,
GitHub a lot, but I don't know if you.
it's fixed. That's most likely due to Windows's, basically it's like internal password manager, or I think it's called credential manager. I think if I recall correctly, that is disabled on 0.2. So maybe that's an issue across. That's probably an issue across multiple applications with Windows Credential Manager being disabled. But enabling that in 0.3 not only has no impact, it also fixes features like Windows Hello. So if you have like face recognition, something we forgot to mention, that should now work, as well as other signing methods. So yeah, GitHub Desktop, any other application that depends on Windows Credential Manager, they should be working.
Is that all you
So
had
my
to?
internet's kind of dying. My
Oh, okay.
internet's kind of dying right now. But does point 3, does that work for 11 and 10? You probably showed it in the presentation. I didn't see. Yeah. Okay.
There's
Thanks.
one playbook, by the way. So there's one
Yeah.
playbook for both 10
I
and
heard that.
11.
I just didn't. I didn't know if you were planning to add Windows 11 support point 3.
Yeah, both work just fine.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you. And I'll unmute you now. Hello. Do you have a microphone? Looks like having problems. I will pull you up after the next person. We'll get one more person up here. And I'll pull you up again so you can fix your issues with the microphone. Someone want to bring someone up?
Yeah. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Firstly, thank you so much for your work. That's a great. I have a question as a person who translated the README page on GitHub in Ukrainian. Actually, it needs an update right now or after release.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have a question about documentation translation because I mean there is a lot of new stuff, documentation, and do you expect people to translate all documentation or just README? I mean, that's a way to bring the OS to more people, I'd say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that William will probably be able to talk this out. Give his light on the localization.
Yeah. Um, for now, for people that want to have the documentation in another language, you can. It's perfectly compatible with Google Translate's website feature. So you can go to Google Translate, click on the websites, paste the documentation URL in, and you should be able to translate the documentation to whichever website automatically, and that should work well enough for most users.
I guess did that answer your question then?
Yeah. Okay. So thanks again a lot, and sorry for terrible accent.
It's fine, of course.
Not at all, not at all. And we'll bring up the person we had up here before. Is a request. Can you re-request just so it's in the chat? So I don't have to scroll. There we go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, we
Yep.
can hear you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my phone's stupid. Okay, yep, congratulations, guys. Like everybody else is saying, good job. Quick question though. One of the biggest issues that I've had is the fact that we don't really get updates very often. Are you guys going to be streamlining those or making them more often when they arise, or are we going to be waiting long periods of time between updates?
I can probably answer this. So about like updates for Atlas, I think that yeah, they'll be quite a bit more frequent now because we're trying to almost mainline that process. We're trying to like make it a constant update, especially as you don't have to reinstall each time. But we wanted to make Windows we wanted to make 0.3 almost a fixture of most or almost all bugs. So yeah, we should have quite a bit more updates from now on, just for general bug fixes and features.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I don't actually have a count on how many we did. Did we do 5? Or did we do 4? Or how many people did we do?
And I don't know. Should we just? How many more people should we do then?
Should we do one more?
I think 2 is fine. 2, you think?
Yep. Sure.
All right. Hello. Hello.
Uh.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Fix your mic. So I was mainly wondering because I ran 0.2 in a Proxmox Kimi VM before, and the thing blue screened after applying the playbook. So I'm wondering about VM guest compatibility.
Should be fine. I mean, HyperV.
Now, like
I know
like
that's
being a VM guest.
yeah, I know. HyperV VMs. So like, if you try and run Atlas in a HyperV VM, that will work now because before there was issues with it. About your blue screening issue, I kind of suspect that to be something to do with it drivers and a certain optimization that 0.2 did, but if that could be re-verified in 0.3, then that would be good. But I kind of
Yeah,
I doubt that it would happen again,
I
to be honest.
yeah, I think I can test that on my Linux host. I have the Kimi setup working. I'm looking to switch over to Atlas from my ReviOS VM that I currently use because that didn't blue screen.
Yeah. It should work. Is that all for the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, VM support should be all good now though. Hyper-V, VMware, KVM, all of it should work for Atlas. And if it doesn't, then obviously report it. But yeah.
All right, awesome. Let's get. We don't actually have a person out in queue right now, so if you guys want to raise your hand if you haven't already, and then we will pick someone at random. Hello.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing great, but I had a question that if I had already installed Revision OS, for example, in Windows 11, so if I apply Atlas OS MA Playbook right on top of it, what would happen?
It will. You can't run. I mean, this just isn't just an Atlas thing, but you can't really run playbooks on top of each other. Yeah, you can't do that. You'd have to fresh install. So if you installed RevIOS or AME, you'd have to reinstall Windows first and then install Atlas.
So if
But
I
you can
have
upgrade Atlas
already a
versions after
no,
0.3.
so if I have already a working Windows 11 installation, stock installation, right? So not any modified, but I am using it like regularly with my apps and stuff. Can I apply Atlas OS on top of it without installing it like from the start?
In theory, yes, but we definitely recommend to clean install. It's not really as supported if you just get a random Windows installation that's stock and then install Atlas on it. We definitely recommend to reinstall first because that will significantly reduce the likelihood of issues.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
up. All right, so that's all for the stage event. Again, going back. Oh, we have another person up. Are we going for another one?
Yeah, if you want me to, I could just leave.
No, come up. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
No, I had I had problems before when the RC2, I believe, went out public. I had like a blue screen issue, but it was resolved since then. So I have actually no questions. I have no idea how you invited me to the stage, but yeah, that's all I have to say. But no, regarding the documentation, I could translate to Norwegian, I guess, if that is an option in the future or no.
One thing that we're trying out right now is we already have translations for the README, and we are keeping the README translations right now. We haven't removed them, but they are out of date. So as soon as it goes live on the 23rd, we're merging the branch to main, and that's when the README will be merged. So if you did want to do a Norwegian translation for the README, that would also be helpful as well.
Yeah, there's no problem in that.
Yeah.
Very appreciated.
Yeah. That's all from me. I love you. I love the like project, I guess, or I don't know how to call it. My English is bad.
Yep, project's good.
But yeah.
We'll like announce if there's you know anything about documentation, translations, if we're opening up those. We still have to obviously figure out things and kind of assess it, see if it's right for the docs and the amount of maintainers. But yeah, it's definitely something that would be good, of course. And if you want to help with that in the future, if it does happen, then that's great. And of course you can.
All right, so that is final, and please do not bring anyone else back up, guys.
It's just some random guy there just clicking silently. We just don't know.
So yeah, that is going to be all. Again, if someone has just joined and they didn't know, we are releasing on November the 3rd, and there's going to be an announcement the day before with the actual time. So as soon as that time hits, the website will be changed, the docs will be changed, and everything will be merged into the main branch, and there'll be a build available. So yeah, that's all for the stage event. Thank you all for coming.
Yep.
We appreciate all the kind words as well, with everyone coming up and saying, congratulations and saying and how much they love it. It's very motivating. So that's really nice to see.
It's not just us though, by the way. It's also all the contributors on GitHub. For example, people that have made the playbook, me and Zueta mostly for 0.3. Yeah, we've both done lots of work on it. So, but if anyone wants to contribute, they can, and people have, which has been a help. So yeah, shout out to everyone that has done that.
Ending the stage event. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.